Crystal, maybe you don't know Crystal, but she's the one that decorated this room. I think she did such a good job.
Yeah, she said it.
This picture behind you there with the lion and the lights around it, isn't that amazing?
And you see that there's a lion, a stuffed lion in the other room.
Oh,
And that's what we used to go in the gym. It's kind of creepy. And we walk up and it's like it's dark.
it's a good visitor, right? Yeah, it takes a while to get used to. Let us know when we're ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Anyway, I'm at the stage in life where what I teach, it has to be practical and skill-based and law-based. And, I learned this from learning a lot of stuff that wasn't the case. And people, once you know how to help yourself, it's not hard, but you have to know certain things. You have to have certain knowledge and you have to have certain skills. People do get well without knowing what they're doing. That's true. But when you consciously know what you're doing in order to help yourself, now that's power. So I'm all about empowering people to help themselves and so my goal and my hope at the end of everything I do is that people feel empowered. They feel like it's not material that you can take and not you have to use it to be empowered, but you have the tools, you know what I mean? So yeah, I have friends, for instance, who know all this. They've been through all the training I've been through, but they don't use it. And then I get a phone call, and they're in some kind of situation. And I say, oh, yeah, did you do the process? Oh, no, I haven't been doing it. Well, you just have to use it, that's all, So everything I teach, there's not a day goes by that I don't incorporate it into my day. Mm-hmm. Not one day. Yeah, that's easy.
And as you can see, I'm pretty happy. And I've been going for a couple of weeks now, and it's to giving me some tools that I'm applying in my everyday life. And there's a shift. I'm still transitioning. It's been about 2 weeks now. And what's really awesome is that I'm seeing the results in my external environment. Mm-hmm. So one person I cleared, and this person never had me over a year, and we did a candidate piece, and then out of nowhere gave me a side hug, and I was like, hey, I'll take it, but I was just like, whoa, what is this? So it's really all the internal work is just to will result in your experience. So anything that reflects to something that's a little bit hard, and then I just kind of go in and work it through. So I'm a work in progress, but I'm getting there.
She's the best kind of student. Totally. Oh. Anybody have a Phoenix?
Yeah, I need one too.
Okay, I'll go get some.
You read my mind.
Whatever we have on hand. Actually, should have Phoenix here, but it looks like we just have a roll of toilet paper to roll around.
I forgot the Kleenex. I might have some in my bag.
Oh, yeah? Okay. For those people that have super sensitive noses. Yeah.
All right. I think we are ready to rock here, people.
Right.
We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And here we go. And that's turned out to Max.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Just formally welcome. It's so nice to have such an intimate, small group. I like that. Last time I did this was just about a month ago. We had 60 people, and the space was maybe twice the size of this, but not much more. It was pretty packed. So this is, just cozy, intimate. Any questions you have will surely get answered. So anyway, I'm here because, I was and am a doctorate level psychologist, meaning I've had way too much education, but a lot, a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, a doctorate degree. And as I was finishing my doctorate degree, my husband, Shine's dad, died of cancer after 4 years of being ill. And that experience catapulted me into a lot of grief and eventually a very deep depression. Now, you would think somebody with a doctorate degree in psychology would be able to help themselves out of that, right? And, excuse me, and I realized that there was nothing that I had learned in that material, and thousands of dollars, literally, and big interruption to family. Anybody that's ever gone through a doctorate program, that there was not one thing that worked to help me release my grief and my depression. And so here I was. I had 2 young kids, and my husband had just passed away, and I began the search. So one of my friends says, I want you to go see a counselor right away. So she hooked me up with a psychiatrist, actually, a female psychiatrist here in town, considered to be the very best. And I began therapy with her that lasted, I think, almost 5 years, with really no results. And from her, I was put on medication of sleeping pills because I wasn't sleeping, antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs because I was like hyper anxious and depressed and back and forth. And the medication, I guess, helped me from dying, but it really, I could feel that anybody that's been on medication, for me, it felt like I was in a straitjacket. I just couldn't, it felt like things weren't working properly, and I wasn't getting well for sure. And so then I finally felt inspired. I knew I had to leave Vancouver. This all happened in Vancouver. And I went back to Alberta, which is my home. I thought, I gotta get back home. I felt like Alberta with the wide open sky, that was home and I would get better. And the beauty of that experience was that it led me to this work. To everything I teach you here is exactly, what I learned by being inspired to get back to Alberta. So the first thing I learned is the process work that you're going to experience at the second part of this workshop. And it is process work called journey work, which I don't really like the name because it doesn't say much about what it is, but it's really, what I call it is cell memory reset processing work. And it's based, Brandon Bays is the founder of it. He's an amazing teacher. I went and learned, her program. And the scientific basis is that when something happens to us from a negative happens to us, and not many people can get through childhood without that happening. If you don't have a way to deal with it, that gets stored in the body and begins to create activity in the body, meaning the body's always trying to release it. So if you have the skills to release it, no problem. You can do that, which you're going to learn today. But if you don't have skills to release it, it begins the process of illness being created. So for instance, and so the process actually takes you back to memories where you didn't have the skills, helps you release them completely, and it's as if you get to the point where it's as if it never happened. You get to recreate your past vibrationally. Of course, you can't do that practically, but vibrationally, you like people that I had issues with way back then as a kid. I don't even remember what they did now. It's like you get to create your past, thus your future. And okay, so where was I? Let me just can somebody just give me a clue what the point was before that?
The process, I guess.
Oh yeah, the process. Okay, so this process is something that you can. I know it inside out and backwards. It's on my phone. I know it by heart, of course, but sometimes I just like to be guided. And whenever you have something from the past come up, a negative thing, you can make note of it, and you will have a tool that can help you release it. And if you do that, and so, I know what I was going to tell you, that these symptoms can begin inside the womb. So the memory that I released, that began to release my depression, got set up in the womb. And I was so ecstatic, this was a psychologist or a medical doctor in Calgary, who was the only person trained at that time in journey work, who did my first process with me. And that was the memory it was a womb memory of, so after that, and I had been a counselor in schools for years, working with troubled teens and troubled kids. And after that process, I was absolutely ecstatic. I thought, oh my God, if you can heal a memory from the womb experience, there's so much hope for humanity. That's incredible. And since then, I have helped a lot of people. That's where their troubles first got set up. It was inside the womb. Not everybody, but it's common. It's very common, because if mom's not doing well, everybody knows that it affects the baby.
That was my last journey too.
What, honey?
My last journey with what's her name was about the womb.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh God. Both my kids were my guinea pigs when I first learned this work, and so gets processed by somebody else, but it's always like, really? That happened to you? Oh my God. Just want to cuddle them.
It wasn't about you, don't worry.
Oh, your other mother? Yeah.
No, it was about me and the world.
Oh, I'm just kidding. We won't get into the details of this process. So anyway, that's the process. And, the span of work, journey work, it can be quite expansive. But what you're going to learn today, it's the basics. Like, there's not a person that I work with that I don't use it. So and then then what happened is I started working with lots of people. Like, anybody that needed help and asked for help, I was there, and got helped, and really helped. Like, things went away: anxiety, depression, a tumor, ulcers, headaches, sleeplessness, whatever. Patterns of behavior that weren't serving them, etc. So it was pretty exciting. And then I started to have people come back after about a year of working with me with other symptoms. And can we put our phones away, because it totally distracts me? Yeah, anybody that's got their phone on, sorry. Where was I?
People were coming
They
back.
were coming back when you are
Oh, they were coming back
Later.
with symptoms. Yeah, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's something missing. I just felt it. I just knew that there was a piece missing, And that's when I discovered Abraham Hicks. It's his body of work. Anybody aware of their work? Okay. Anybody totally obsessed with in a good way with the Abraham Hicks student? No. Okay. Anyway, there's not a day goes by that I don't listen to something about Abraham Hicks, because their body of work, coming from source energy, is law-based and teaches us how to think in the present. So I can do 100 journey processes, you'll learn today. But if I don't know how to manage my present thinking, things will come back, you know. And most of us are pretty stuck in our present thinking. And so that's where we have to become super conscious. Yes, it's good to clear the past, absolutely, and you can. But you will just recreate things if you don't know how to manage our present thinking. And that's the beauty of Abraham Hicks. I just can't say enough about, you know, I've listened to them now for 10 years and there's not a moment that they contradict themselves. Everything they say makes sense from a law-based perspective. And to me, that's everything now. Because I learned so much stuff that was just somebody's idea that, of things, and it was just completely wrong, So,
I don't understand the law-based. Can you explain that?
meaning this is the way the universe works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into that. That's great. That's great to bring us in. So so ideally, in an ideal universe, I'd like everybody to know the principles of the law of attraction, law-based thinking that can help you in everything you do, and then learning the skills to, skill stuff to release stuff. That's also, if in a perfect world, that's what I'd love to see every newcomer who comes into the world learn. All right. So we're going to start with, now, everything I say, every I'm going to go over 9 principles of the law of attraction, which is the law that governs the universe. Everything is based about the law of attraction. And I'm going to go over 9 principles. And any of you that listen to Abraham Hicks will see that every single question that gets addressed to Abraham has one of these principles at the heart of it. So they answer practical questions that people have about why certain things happened. So this work basically is teaching you how to become a deliberate creator of your universe, of your world. You being in control of what happens to you. Not so much what happens, because the universe kind of brings us things that are unexpected and even more wonderful than we imagine sometimes. But you know that you're on the path to exactly what you're wanting when you're in a certain frame of mind. Okay, so that's why I didn't emphasize that in my last workshop, and I really thought that's important. All right, so the first principle here is that we are first and foremost vibrational beings. Like, we are energy. I mean, it looks and it feels like we are skin and bone, and and we are, but even that is just energy, and it's pulsating in the universe. All of us are, and how we're feeling when we're pulsating depends on what's coming to us in our life, good things or bad things. Now, when I first learned that we are vibrational beings and then started listening to Abraham's always says, well, so chill out more, relax, pet your cat, go for a massage, do things that make you feel good. And at that time, when I was in Calgary, I did not know anybody that looked relaxed or calm or wonderful. I thought, wow, this is how am I going to learn this if there's not one person who's can model it? So I thought, well, who could I learn from? And I thought, you know what? Cows. Cows know how to chill. And I literally drove from Calgary to Bragg Creek, parked my car, which is an hour's drive, parked my car in front of a farmyard and in front of a herd of cows, and I started to watch them. And they teach you how to relax. They eat a little, chew, and they relax and rest, and sometimes they lie down, and they really do a lot of communicating with each other, but they know each other's ground, you know. And I did that honestly for at least 10 times, back and forth. And I really got this feeling of stillness, of calmness, of animals who knew how to just be at peace, you know. So animals, and what I've learned since, animals are energy balancers. If it weren't for animals, we would be in big trouble. Our cats and our dogs, they keep us in good spirits, right? There's nobody that doesn't adore their pet. And that can, you know, like a herd of well cared for cattle or pigs or anything, right? They all teach us because that's their natural state. So that's that. Number 2, our emotions are what draw to us our reality. Now, the next slide, I'm going to actually show you specifically the vibrational scale that we've all been born into. We all have it, and we call it our emotional guidance scale. But basically, when we're feeling good, and you know, on a consistent basis, good things come to us on a consistent basis. Meals we get at restaurants are awesome. The traffic that we're in is amazing. We miss all the, you know, the pileups and stuff like that. The people we meet are in good, you know, treat us well. Unexpected things happen that we've been thinking about come. All the good things that we want, and wanting is something that's just natural, right? You see something that someone, you know, experiences, whatever, going on a vacation, and we just decide we want that, or we want a car, or we want a house, or whatever. So when we're in a good feeling state, it's called being inside the vortex of creation. That's how we know we're creating well, when we're feeling good. When we're feeling bad, so I can take my example. When I was in depression, there was nothing that I did that worked out, for the most part. I mean, it was so, for the first time in my life, having felt on top of it, you know, before my husband died, I was the director of a graduate school of psychology. I was making tons of money. I was thriving in my work, feeling great, you know, loved my family, blah, blah, blah. Things were, and I just felt like confident and with it. And, you know, things just came to me. I just felt good in the world. I didn't know why I felt good. I didn't have this knowledge, but things were working for me. And then when I went into this depression, it was confusing for me because things always worked out for me before. And then all of a sudden, in this deep depression, not being able to even conjure up a positive thought, you know, things just started falling apart. You know, just one thing after another just went bad. And I got confused. Every decision I made wasn't good because I was in such a state, and it was a consistent negative state, you know. So if you think of the people on the planet who are in a depressed state, which is massive, right? You have a lot of people creating things in their world that aren't good, and they don't know why, and it's just coming at them. You know, you don't think you have control, and that was true for me. So I was very confused, and I was even afraid to make decisions after a while because I just didn't believe that they would work out. And even the process you're going to experience, I don't think there was anybody that I've ever processed since that was more fearful at the beginning of the process than myself, because I was worried something bad was going to happen because it had been so consistent, you know. So you know, I'm a good person to teach this because, you know, when I get into depression, I do it really good. You know, it's a really solid, good depression. My son can attest to that. Oh, funny. It's funny to think about it that way, but that's really, uh, that's really how it is. So, okay, so anyway, back to the second principle, you know, when you're in a negative state, you're attracting negative. Now, most people are up and down. You know, when I was in my depression, I read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, and his guess is about 80% of most of the planet spends most of their time in negative emotion. Most of the time. So, and you can kind of get a feeling of how the masses are thinking when you watch the news, because the news will not give you the news won't happen unless people are watching it. They produce news that people want to hear, and so you get a feeling of most people's thinking when you watch the news. When they start having an all good news broadcast, we know we've had a huge vibrational shift on the planet, because and I look forward to that day. But that's really what will happen. It's us who determine how the news is, because they listen to us. Okay, so most people are what we would call bipolar. They're down, and then they'll go up for a little bit, but they're mostly down. They're mostly in depression, but then they'll feel good for a minute. And everybody knows what bipolar is. Yeah, you're up and down. You're feeling great, then you're feeling so bad, up and down and up and down. And most people are not mostly down, but people do have experiences like a birthday party or a concert or something, with a hockey game, where they feel great, And so there's this, some people are diagnosed with bipolar, but I would say most of us have experienced being bipolar. I certainly have. And that's my experience. It's not very many people I know that can consciously keep themselves feeling good 90% of the time. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3, ask and it is given. So this is a law. This is given to us by, Jesus taught it to begin with. Ask and it is given. Whatever we want, no matter what, no matter how big, how small, how grand, could be a castle, could be a mansion, it could be a Tesla, it could be whatever you want, right? The best vacation on the planet, it's given to you. It is yours. You can create it. But you have to know that our role in the creation of anything wonderful is to be feeling good, in a good feeling state, right? In higher emotions, in good feeling emotions. That's not really said in the Bible very much, but certainly asking it is given is. And that's what they mean by that. Just trust, relax, know that everything comes to you. Everything comes to you at the right and perfect time, and you can monitor what comes to you by how you're feeling. All right, so if you have any questions, just say them. Number 4, whatever we focus on expands. So whatever, every conversation that we're focused on, let's say we're complaining about something, whatever, something's not right about something, then we are literally creating more things to complain about. If you're going to, after this, my hope is that you're going to begin to become highly conscious of your thinking, of every thought. And I did that, and I would have said before my husband died that I was a happy person. But now I realize I was pretty bipolar, because I was monitoring my thinking. I thought, wow, I did not know that I had so many thoughts of judging people or whatever, right? Still, I can't even think of, you know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of negative thoughts, and it totally surprised me, because I really did believe that I was a happy person. And so what I realized is that I was mostly, feeling pretty good. but I was in and out and in and out and in and out, like totally talks about in his book. So whatever we focus on expands. So for instance, you know, there was someone that visited here just recently and has had something awful happen to her and was telling the story of that, of what happened to her, you know. And in as gentle a way as I could, I let her know that telling the story of past traumas or whatever affects people around you. You literally have you have the ability to affect your environment by the conversations you have. And not only that, but when you say it out loud and when you talk about it and get everybody else talking about it, you expand it, you make it worse. You ensure that more things you don't want come to you, you know? So
How do you delineate between that processing of feelings verbally to the cleaning up the drama of it and dramatizing it?
say that.
How do you delineate between expanding the drama,
Yeah.
having drama,
Yeah.
and processing it?
Yeah.
Because I know verbally talking things through,
Yeah.
listening to another person, letting them
Yeah.
think it through. Like, what's the difference? How do you know when someone has gone too far and is just being dramatic?
Yeah.
Versus process.
Yeah. Well, you're going to learn journey work today, and you're going to be able to today help people. Usually, what people are talking about in the present, it has been festering, but it's not really even about the present. It's about something that happened to them way back when, and when they clear that, they clear the drama. But you know, I saw a psychotherapist. This is why most counseling doesn't work. Let's put it this way. Because my psychotherapist, considered the best in Vancouver, let me go on and on and on and on about how terrible my life was, and oh my God, how am I ever going to manage, and what about my kids, and oh my God, like I don't think I can do this. I mean, I would have shot myself if I was her. Like I would have. Like, oh my God. Like when I say I know how to do depression, but I didn't mean to do it, but that's literally how I was feeling, you know? And and she just let me go on and on and on and on. And that's why I never got well. I mean, she was a key factor in keeping me depressed, you know? She didn't know this process work, and she didn't know anything she taught me didn't work. And bless her. I mean, she did the best she could, right? But that's why most talk therapy doesn't work. When I work with somebody, I don't even I just want a little bit of information. I just need to know they don't feel good. Perhaps they want to tell me a little bit. But I don't let the person go on and on and on. I take them right into clearing it, you know? And, you don't have to be an expert like me to do this, because even when I was just learning, you know, I was so happy to get this work when I got it. You know, like I just never, ever will feel bad again like that, ever. Because I now know I can always get myself feeling good. But someone literally can be at a table telling me their thing, and I don't let them go on, but I say, listen, would you like to clear that? You know, and I literally take them through and this process and clear it. And you can get so good at it that you can do it quickly and easily. I've even done it in the car, like friends, you know, going to the mountains with friends. My friend, remember the exact day, my friend is talking about her husband and how mad she is at him and blah, blah, blah. And I'd say, you know, honestly, I just can't hear this right now, but I'm willing to help you clear it. And we did. Right in the car, you know. By the time we got to our destination, she felt super good about her husband. You know, and she
Husband thing.
and well, I don't know about that, but she, yeah, he didn't do it personally, but yes, vibrationally, totally. And you know, she felt better, and their family felt better.
So by clearing it, are you getting to the cellular level of
Yeah.
the origin?
That's right. Yeah. You'll literally see today how the cell shifts and changes. Yeah. All right. So, and whatever we focus on gets bigger. So, if we're focusing on, if we're telling people about this, how great something is and how much I like my job and how wonderful my partner is and how great my son is and, and what it is, how wonderful it is to have such great people living around me and, and wonderful clients and oh my God, like it. So all that kind of talk is literally bringing me more of what I want, which is great stuff, right? So, and yeah, so I won't go on and on. I could go on and on. My kids say, Mom, enough words. Number 5, everything that comes to us is something that we have attracted. Now, if you ever get stuck on a point of the principles, this will be one of them, because that's for sure not one I agreed with when I first heard this. You mean I attracted my depression? Like, I just was not willing to own up to it, And I didn't really understand it all, but I thought, there's no way I would do that, No way my husband would attract cancer. Like, what the hell, And so, finally, it took a year for me to totally get my head into this and realize that there was a direct correlation between what I thought and what came to me. But I finally got it that my thoughts, when I was depressed, were what attracted the terrible things. So, and I, that's it. That's what we think about, we get, we bring about. So I finally conceded that I had attracted it, of course, never on purpose. You would never say to somebody, well, you deserve that. You attracted that, So, ever. Because most people don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Seriously. You'll be no more than most doctors know by the time you finish today. I'm not kidding. Number 5. Okay, so every little thing that has happened that comes to us, number 5 is important because you want to celebrate the little things. When little things come to us, like, they're not so little, like a hug from someone, a great conversation, someone compliments us, someone says, someone, whatever, right? Something comes in the mail that's unexpected, you have enough money to buy whatever you wanted, extra money comes, all that stuff. They seem like little things, but they are the things of life, right? And you want to say, I have a button from Staples that says, that was easy, but I would like one that says, that was fun. You just realize that you created that, right? Everything good that's come, you created, that amazing girlfriend, you created that.
I did.
That was easy.
Shook it up for
There she
that.
is.
Yeah.
She loves me.
I created it and completed it.
Yeah. But any wonderful thing in your life now, you can pat yourself on the back, right? And the reason I have this button is because I want to just become so steeped in this, knowing that of how great I am when I attract something good or bad. And even when something bad happens now, it's like, wow, how did that happen? And I'm just examining my thinking. I just know I did that.
Can I share something quickly on that?
Yeah, totally.
Abraham is a channel teacher, I guess, and another channel that I love is named Bashad, and he talks more about like the science behind this stuff, and his explanation of the law of attraction really helped me get a grasp on it. And this was the last paper that Stephen Hawking wrote, actually before he died, was that we live in this world of infinite parallel realities that are kind of like stacked, and they're all happening simultaneously. So it's kind of like a film strip. There's just these like still images, but when you move them, that's what creates the illusion of movement. And so that's basically what he's saying, is that we're moving from parallel reality to parallel reality billions of times per second, and that there's infinite versions of all of us and everything that exists, and they all exist right now, and they're all happening at once. But our focus determines which version we attract in that moment. So if we're attracting a version of someone that we don't like, we're literally, the only way that we would attract that is because it's a direct reflection of exactly where we are right now, and that that's like the future physics that people haven't figured out yet. And they
Collapsing
become-
the probability theory.
Yeah.
What's the name of this one?
Bashar, Bashar.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that he says something that I just want to emphasize. So if you get a bad meal in a restaurant, let's put it that way, you realize you've attracted that, right? So everything that comes to us, it gives us a clue how we're doing. That's what I want to say, right? So if someone's kind of nasty to us, it's not. I'm rarely nasty back once in a while, but not much. I take it. I think, oh wow, that's a reflection of how I'm doing internally. You know, so you just get to own everything that comes to you. It's liberating. It's so liberating to know that we're in charge. It's not liberating feeling when you're in the negative state and you're trying to get yourself out, but it's liberating, overall. All right, now we are expanding the universe with our thoughts. So some people have the notion that there's a God out there that's kind of controlling everything and, has the big picture and all that. And what's actually true is that we all are extensions of God, and we are helping to expand the universe through our thinking, through our inventions. We're creating different families, different technology, different beautiful things for the universe. And so we are literally helping to expand the universe, which is even more empowering. It's so empowering to know that we're such a big part of being here. We're not insignificant and small. We are huge, You think of some of our inventions, like who's Edison? Like how many times did he attempt to try to get the light bulb for us, right? A lot of times. But he had to have been knowing that it was there and trusting and how he talks about it. He says, I now know 20,000 ways not to create a light bulb. It was a huge amount of trust that he could do this, to bring us the light bulb. And, so anyway, I love that story. And Henry Ford, the same thing, right? With he'd still be riding horses without Henry, unless somebody else came along. All right, number 8. We are expanding the universe with our thoughts. Number 8, in the law-based universe, whatever we say no to, we are actually saying yes to. Now, this is huge. It was huge for me. It might not be huge for you, but it was absolutely huge for me because I cared a lot. I care a lot about people and wanting good things to happen. And my husband did too. And so both of us were eager to help change the world. And so we got involved in a pile of causes, whatever it was. Violence against women, terrible dictators in different parts of the world, diamond exploitation in South Africa, whatever it was. There was my husband was an investigative journalist, so he was sussing out, stuff. And so, I didn't want violence against women, but my focus on violence against women helped make it worse. I expanded by bringing attention to it, talking about it, all of that. It helped actually to expand the problem. Mm-hmm. And when I first learned this, I was like devastated. I thought, oh my God, 5 years, 10 years, I can't remember the number of years that I was doing something to bring attention to some negative thing on the planet. And that's what the news is all about.
Is there a guilt that you have for that? Like, there
was a huge load of disappointment because I cared so much about doing good, I thought, wow, but it's law-based, like whatever we focus on, we make bigger. So the more we focus on climate change, the more things that happen in the climate that needs to be changed. The more we focus on how terrible we think men are, or in the women's movement, the more we notice that's happening, And so it's a big one, really, yeah.
So with world events, then what can we talk about? I mean, solutions, I suppose. I mean, maybe like how do we direct the conversation or energy if you still want it, like for women's movement,
Yeah.
So of course we don't want the violence and stuff. So then, what can we talk about? Like how do we, prevention kind of things?
Yeah.
I don't like. I was just trying to figure that out.
Well,
Application of it.
yeah. Well, I worked at a rape crisis center for a while, and I mean, it is hard not to think about the negative there. But what I do now is, every time I meet a wonderful man, I know that it's not true that all men are terrible. I just focus on the wonderful men I know. Like I know so many amazing guys who would, it's not about being a man or being. It's about your energy, your vibration. And the other thing about that is that there is no injustice in this law-based universe. So women, we are playing a part in whatever happens to us. If we're in fear, a lot of fear, we're going to attract fear-based things happening to us. We don't need to, right? But we do. And, so no one would blame that person for a bad thing happening to her. But there comes a point when you know this so well that you begin to take ownership. And you begin to realize, wow, if I'm feeling good, I can be sure I'm going to be safe. If I'm feeling great consistently, my world is safe. It is, I don't have to worry about that, So, everybody get that? Yeah.
Yeah, just to understand really. So with this woman, let's say you wanted to bring awareness about that, right? So what should have been done differently? Because you said you don't want to talk about that. Otherwise, it's a law of attraction.
Well, by the time a woman hits a woman's shelter, there's been a lot of negative stuff happen to her, right? Negative momentum that has finally put her in a women's shelter. Her life is so unsafe. She needs to be guarded, right? Or hidden from society, so that she doesn't get harmed by whoever. So first of all, you soothe that person, you get them stable. But now I would educate them about this. I would totally educate them about this. I didn't know this at that time, but that teaching them you have control and you can slowly turn your life around. It's not going to happen tomorrow, because you're going to see in another slide the momentum that happens when you get in a negative state. It's really hard to control it. Like you have to go and watch cows, or meditate for a week. Because law of attraction grabs hold of this one thought that says, oh, that woman is a jerk, and pretty soon 10 more women that aren't treating you well, and someone else, and the law of attraction grabs onto those thoughts and it brings you more thoughts. But the vice versa happens too. You meet a wonderful man and you focus on him, and then you realize, oh, there's another wonderful man, and you focus on him, and you know what I mean? Like you can make it either going upward into feeling good and realizing, wow, there's so much good that's going on, or we can either add to the well-being of the planet through our thoughts, or we can add to what's not going well. That's always an every given thought. Is this helping the planet? If it's positive and wonderful, yes. If it's not, it should be temporary. If it's not, you get a handle on it and you shift it.
And I think some people have been thinking lots about that, because people, I think, will turn to hurt because you're teaching personal control, and if someone's been victimized, something like their sense of control is to broadcast it and raise women's awareness in the outside world.
Yeah.
And that's it, that elevates it instead of focusing on, you say, the positive
That's right.
personal environment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like broadcasting, it's like reason for suicide. We just don't report on suicide.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and if someone were to feel suicidal, do they actually raise the awareness of suicide, or probably bring them closer towards that edge,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't teach that, right? So for women's safety, for instance,
You always-
you don't teach, what,
You don't teach
or you would raise awareness on the issue. Is that actually how they control for their lives? Like I think
Yeah.
so
Like
that's how we're talking. How do
But
you
I think it's
raise
a
awareness
concept
of
as well.
something?
Yeah.
And I think it's in this culture that we're taught to, for some reason, to associate and broadcast social media,
Mm.
and we think we're going to bring control to our own life by going online with massive groups of people and raising awareness, and that is
Yeah.
what attracts. You just live in that world, and all of a sudden you're attracting more. Unfortunately, it's very valid issues.
That's
I'm
right.
saying, however, that you start living and breathing the world's problems.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. Our capacity to broadcast a massive message instantly
Yeah.
doesn't serve us.
No.
It's,
But to
But it-
broadcast a positive message
Yeah.
serves us totally.
it's most people's first. We saw that I'm feeling victimized of some issue.
Mhm.
Why do we have in this culture the need to share it with the world?
Because people don't know that law. They really don't. They don't know that what you say no to, you actually are attracting. People literally don't know that, right?
Mhm.
But a person, let's say a woman, let's take that example of a woman in a shelter, right? Because it's pretty extreme when I think of the women I've helped. It's like they've been in an airplane and they jumped out, and it's like there's nothing until they hit the ground. You realize once they've hit the ground, they are broken and meaning hurt and bruised and battered, and literally when you hit the ground. And that the first thing you do is you soothe the wounds. You let them know that they're okay, that they're wonderful, that this is going to get better, that they are loved no matter what, and we'll help you figure this out. So you're soothing them to get well. And you would not, for instance, allow a conversation to go, like someone can walk into this house, and any house, and they literally can change the culture of the house by the stories they tell when they walk in. And if the vibration isn't strong enough for positivity, that you hold the energy to keep this a safe and positive and wonderful environment, that person will literally vibrate, will not have a chance to do that. You know what I mean? So, or even wouldn't bring it up if it was totally, if we were totally, our vibration was totally clean, So, you get that? So anyway, but like I didn't, for someone to tell me in the midst of my depression that, I created this and, you got to stop doing this without giving me any skills. I mean, I went to a psychic, for instance, who told me about my past life, a past life that was horrible. And I'm thinking, are you like crazy? Like I'm in a deep depression and you're telling me about a bad past life I had? Like that is, in my opinion now, it's incompetent. It's just downright ridiculous, And, and that, for my psychiatrist, it's just, it's a reflection of what's being taught, but it was just incompetence. She did not know that, no, you cannot. I needed someone to say to me, Joni, shut the fuck up. I do not want to hear this story one more time. I'm not kidding. If someone would have said that to me, I would have whoa, and explained why. I would have listened. I would have known if someone would have said that this is it, a good friend, right? Shut the fuck up. Every time you tell that story, you carry on your depression. You've got to find a way to shift this. Let's help you shift this. You know, I wish I would have heard that. I totally do. And you know, a friend of mine who was in depression, who teaches this work as well, did have somebody say that to them, who got a divorce and was like in a terrible state. And finally, their friend said, "Shut the fuck up." No, and Sean knows this person, and that was the end of it. He got well. You know, he realized, wow, you know. But I did not even have a clue I was creating my depression. I didn't. So you know what I mean? You're careful. You soothe people. You don't say to someone who has a full blown tumor, you created that tumor. you let you do it in a gentle, loving, soothing way. Okay, got it?
Can I share something quick?
Yeah.
One of the things that's really helping me figure all this stuff out, we just went through a really intense experience at the house, and it sort of forced me to really like hone in on these skills and not it's like anything that wasn't working was really obvious that it wasn't working because it was such an intense experience. And what really helped me was focusing on like trees and animals and like just so general and so like non-resistant, like giraffes and like dolphins and like trees in the forest. And if I just, there's a Abraham quote or Abraham thing that says if you focus on something for 17 seconds, you begin to, that focus, that thought becomes activated and it starts to attract other thoughts. And then if you do it for 68 seconds, you've actually created enough momentum to see physical evidence of it. And so and it's really hard when there's a ton of momentum in the other direction because it kind of feels like you're being like inundated with all these negative thoughts because you can't control it because there's so much momentum. But just stopping and meditating and then building up positive, that's been the biggest thing that's helped in this. And then from there, it's like it just keep building positive. And then at some point it feels good and interesting to like start to clear some of that stuff that's causing the negative. But if I try and clear it sometimes from the negative without support, without having like someone to process me, then I can start spinning. That's really helpful.
Okay, so the last one is just a reiteration that the reason it's so important to know about the law of attraction, and even kids get this, they totally get this. You know, we have 2 little ones here. They get it. Oh, I manifested that, you know, aren't I great? And that's amazing. And, you know, they totally get, you know, and, you know, one of them wakes up cranky and the other one will say, hey, got to get a handle on that, you know, you don't want to create bad things, you know, they really get that your mood matters, you know. So it's so simple, but it's not simple too. So the law of attraction is the basis of the universe. It's how everything works. And when you get that, you get everything. There's not a situation that comes forth that you won't understand because you know the law. So, because it all is based on our thinking, our emotions, etc. All right, so Sean, I'm going to attempt to change this.
Yeah, just click.
Just click it.
Yep. Press the space bar.
Space bar? There's a space bar. Okay, there we go. All right, now, you know, I paid, probably, just to let you know, just make you feel a little guilty. I paid like over $10,000 for what you're going to learn today. And to feel lucky. No, I manifested that. Not guilty, but like literally, when I learned this, what I'm going to teach you here, it was like I never, you know, a doctorate in psychology, like crazy, that I did not learn this, right? And to me, it's like beyond crazy now. So anyway, this is it comes from Abraham Hicks, and it's an attempt to show us visually and step by step what it means to be a vibrational being. Okay, so it has a list of emotions from 22 at the bottom which is fear and grief and depression, despair, powerlessness, which is where I was at, and never ever will go there again, ever. And joy and appreciation, feeling empowered and loved and free at the top. As you go up this scale, you increase your vibration. So someone, for instance, who's in anger and revenge, for instance, is a much healthier person than someone that's in depression and despair. Now, you don't want to stay in anger and revenge, of course, right, ever, for long. But you do want to know that, for me, when I'm working with anybody, if I can get them to be angry rather than depressed, which is like always beating up on yourself, you know, you're terrible, how terrible you are. I know that we've done good work, right? And I let them know, and I say, you know, we don't want to stay here, but I want you to know that you are in better shape now than you were when you were depressed. And so so there's discouragement, blame. When someone's in blame, that's like the news, right? The news is in blame, right? The government blaming, the politicians blaming, the teachers, whatever, whoever, right? When you're in blame, you're really rolling up this scale, like you're getting healthier. At least you're accusing others. You know, it feels better to blame your
That
mother,
feels amazing.
yeah, or your boss, or whatever, right? Than it feels to blame yourself. So blame is healthier, way healthier than all the other ones at the bottom there. But you get that it's not an emotion that you want to stay in, because there is justice, you know. We're always getting what we've attracted, you know. So that
Jealousy is I don't think that jealousy is a very strong. Is that jealousy? I don't know.
yeah, number 20, jealousy.
That's a real bad one?
Oh, it's a pretty big one. Yeah, pretty big one. Yeah. Okay, so, and there's like within each, for instance, when I say a very big one, but to be honest, within every one of these emotions, there's a little bit of jealousy and a whole lot of jealousy, you know, and the actions that a person can take in each state is quite different. This jealous person could kill someone. This jealous person just feels bad.
Or there's envy, I guess, is the positive version of jealousy. Is that no?
The envious of what you've got.
Isn't envy sort of like that aspire, like what creates role models? Like if someone's a role
Admire,
model,
when you
envy
admire
them.
someone.
Yeah.
When you envy them, it's like,
Envy is there's
It's like jealousy.
Yeah.
Envy.
you feel power. It's a certain powerlessness.
That's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that's that.
yeah,
It's kind of figured out, right?
It's like that you wish you had what they have, and jealousy is like I have something, or that you're afraid of losing it.
Right.
Like
so none of it, just to tell you that we probably could come up with like 25 more feelings, but this is really just to show you that we're vibration. When I first saw this, I printed it out and I put it in places where I could see it regularly, because I always wanted to know where I was, so that if I was in doubting myself, I'd say, okay, so I knew where to go. I could think of a feeling place to go that would be better. Now, it can take years for somebody to go from despair and grief and depression into joy. It usually doesn't happen overnight. It can be faster if you have the right skills, but you know, it's taken me a while. Like,
And can you stay in these pretty dots?
well, yeah, I'll go into that. So we keep going up, and you see the light purple? Those are the positive, right? That's when we're in the vortex, meaning that's when we are channeling God with everything we say. We're saying nice things, we're feeling good, we're getting good things, we're uplifting others, we are appreciating others. That's light purple, okay? And that's literally the God force within us channeling through us, right? When we're out of that God force, the dark purple, we are channeling the opposite. Right? We're I don't believe in the devil or anything, but you know what I mean. We're channeling negative, but God is all about the light purple. And that some people have. I don't even like to use the word God because it's such a loaded word, but you get what I mean, right? Spiritual. You know the difference between feeling oneness. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're enthusiastic, you're feeling great. You know that you're in the vortex, and you know that whatever's being created for you, when you're in that state, it's great. Now, even the best of the most, let's say Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, she goes out of the vortex sometimes. Everybody does. It's called being in contrast. But when you have the skills and the knowledge, you quickly shift. And when you're out of the vortex, it can be just a clarifying experience. Oh, wow, I really don't like that. Oh, gee, I made a little mistake. It's sort of like that. You just realize you're out of sorts a bit, and you just need a little tweak. If you're highly practiced in the light purple, then usually you just need little tweaks, And in this house, among the people that know this stuff, it's easy to just say, hey, you need to go and chill out, or get in the vortex, whatever. Like there's little language things that we can say to each other that lets us just reminds each other that, that we're out of sorts. Because it's easy to get out of sorts and then start going downward. All right, so the feeling good, feeling bad, this is the scale, and it's huge leap. It is a big leap to go from, say, fear to anger. It's a big leap to go from anger to disappointment. It's like going from fear to joy, for instance. That's like going from here to France by foot. It is huge, energetically wise. So I'm saying that because you don't want to get down on yourself. Like when I first learned this, I would go to bed at night and I would think, wow, okay. So I went from blame into doubt. Good job, good job, Joni. Like I really did it like that. Like I was so out of sorts. None of you are like that at anywhere near that. But that's where I was. Like I was completely dedicated to moving up this scale. I wanted to become a master at being in the light purple. And that often comes from people like myself who've been in such contrast, like such horrible, like that. So, anyway, that's anything else on the emotional guidance scale?
I love that, by the way. That's going to be such a useful tool.
Oh,
Just like I've come far today.
yeah,
Where I want to be, but actually,
yeah, yeah. Good job.
better than
Yeah,
where I was.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
a lot of people don't even know what they're feeling, so it's
Totally.
nice to just see.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people are so blocked.
But they don't even know the words for emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
5 times the vocabulary I had.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, I know something.
I'm missing a big thought here. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit distracted today. There's a piece here I'm just not saying.
We talked about not moving too much.
So, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Vibrational matches? What is it?
Vibrational matches, yeah.
What does it mean?
Things that are of that, that quality, optimism and hopefulness start coming into your spirits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like a neuron.
If I would, yeah. I mean, basically you need 2 little signs. Those little signs are a little distracting. I would put manifesting good things and manifesting bad things, Yeah. But the difference between someone's life in fear and the difference between someone's life in disappointment is huge. Like huge what comes to you. It's a very different life. You know, you can live mostly in negative emotion and have an okay life. Most people are. You know, some things work out, some things don't. You know, they're living. But down in fear, trust me, you know, that's where war. You know, you get a whole population down in 21 and 22, and that's where wars get set up, right? Everybody's in fear. Everybody's terrorized.
Revolution. I'd say that's what
Exactly.
people-
Yeah. Everybody's in, you know, and then you get an angry dictator revving things up, you know, and so the whole country gets distracted.
I have something on this side.
Yeah.
So there's a technique called the focus wheel, and you use the emotional scale. So you take, say you're having trouble with your partner, and you're feeling angry at them, and so you take the idea of I'm angry at my partner, and then you flip it and you say, what do I want? I want a joyful relationship. So you put that in the middle, and then you draw. This is how they teach you. You draw a bunch of like clocks, like 12 different hands or whatever, as many little spaces to write things. And then you start. You have to write something. So say you're in anger. So you have to find a thought that feels both good and is true. And you have to start there. And if you try and start too high, like I love my partner, it doesn't feel true, and you're not able to actually get on the wheel. It's like a carousel that's spinning. So they talk about, okay, start with something simple like this person has done nice things before, or remember that time, or like something. Just find some way to get on, and then find another thought that feels a little bit better, and then another thought that feels a little bit better. And then if you keep doing that, you can build yourself up to this point where you actually do mean and you feel, I love my partner. But you've gone from anger all the way up by really focusing incrementally on finding like any thought about that person that feels good.
So are you saying then that by doing that you're dismissing the cause of the anger?
Well,
Should that not be brought up? What's the cause of it?
right. I mean, the cause is probably something that's in the
Okay.
past. That's
Then how can you get to that positive state unless you know the cause?
well, it's kind of like the Albert Einstein quote. And this is what I'm learning is that if I'm in a negative place, nothing good will come of it. And if there's something in my outer experience that isn't what I want it to be, and I'm in a negative place, it's logical that I would want to change that thing because I'm seeing it as the reason for me not feeling good. But the reason that I'm not feeling good is not the thing, it's how I'm looking at it. And so if I change the way that I'm looking at it, it doesn't need to change for me. And then from that point, it's almost like then if I can rise above the like fog and get on top of the mountain and see the vastness of it, I'm like, oh, this is why they're doing that, or oh, this is why I'm doing it. This is from my past. Oh, okay, I'm actually mad at my mom because she wasn't blah 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 blah. And then get to the like this is what we're gonna get into is actually how to like get to the root of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so that thank you for that because it helped me really realize what I didn't say
Okay.
as well. So the major categories of life, the relationships, you know, big time. It could be an intimate relationship or it could be friends. They are the people that have the best relationships are at the top, and the people that have the worst relationships are at the bottom. Right? It's like you can tell. You can. The state of people's lives you can tell by how they're feeling. Health-wise, the very worst health conditions are at the bottom, and chronic conditions are at the bottom, and you know having a slight sneeze and sniffle is at the top. You know, so incrementally, the great things in life are you go incrementally. Get that?
Mm-hmm.
And financially, the same thing. You know, people that have money, like a ton of money, they get that money just comes to them when they know how it works, you know, and you know, people that are at the bottom are, you know, and consistently at the bottom, they don't have much
Some
money.
people got money now.
What?
some people who have money, a lot of money, are not really happy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So that's totally true. Absolutely. But there are things in the how do we explain that? So if so the goal in life is not lots of money. The goal in life is being happy. When you're happy, you can get lots of money by working really hard and being angry. That's true. You can. If you know the world of money. But anybody who has money will tell you if they're not happy, that all that money in the world is insignificant. So the goal in life is to be happy, to do what you love and love what you do, and and when you are happy, money flows to you with ease. When you're not happy, all of us have examples of people we know that aren't happy, that have money. But the people that I love to see and I'd like to model after are people that are, they have lots of money and life is going great for them and they know how to keep it going great, and it's a manifestation. Some people don't even want more money. That's not even it's like like being rich is not everybody's desire. Let's put it that way. So you can be happy and have just enough too. That's they've shown that in countries, very poor countries. It's not in North America that are the happiest countries. That is for sure. It's I think Nigeria was quoted as one of the happiest countries. So I don't know how they measure that, but
I know happy in Central America. It's very poor. The children are all laughing and happy. They have nothing, but they're laughing and they have the biggest welcoming smile.
Yeah.
It's a different
Asia as well.
lifestyle. Asia, India.
yeah,
so on.
exactly,
They have
exactly.
nothing, but they're so happy.
That's right. Yeah.
Because they don't know the other side.
Yeah, yeah. And there's people that will quit their corporate job because they just cannot stand to be in that. I'm not saying corporate is bad always, but they just decide I'd rather be happy.
I did so. I did that. I was in Mongolia in a village, and someone hugged me, and I walked away from 10 years of this corporate job I worked so hard in. So, and I said, I'm like, they were the first ones who actually gave me love and like a hug, and I just walked away. I'm like, I choose to be happy. And what are you happy?
Yeah, like we went looking at cows. I went to Africa and I volunteered. The little boy gave me a half of his bread. That's the only thing he was going to have for that day. That changed my life. Yeah, changed my life. So
Yeah.
it's about what works for you, that moment.
Yeah.
That event that causes you to just make that turnaround.
Yeah.
360.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. So any symptom that you have, here's how you know when you're out of the vortex, so to speak. You get manifestations, right? Physical symptoms of any sort, emotional symptoms. So anxiety, depression, overwhelmment, all of bipolar. Those are all words that were created by doctors so they could speak to each other. So when a doctor says this person is bipolar, and then there's levels of bipolar, they speak to each other, right? But you're either feeling good or feeling bad. When you get down to the nitty gritty of this, and so I lost my train of thought again. What was it? Oh my God. Anyway, forgive me. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But it's sort of like that
About
kind of.
money and people attract money and how to do it.
Right, yeah. So on this scale, if people sometimes have money and then don't have money and up and down, you can tell, So however you're doing, the other thing that some of the advanced work that I teach is that patterns of unhealthy behavior get set up. And often it can happen, in the womb, it can happen, literally. And I'll give you an example of a pattern of unhealthy behavior. There's 9 of them. You can see them all around you. But the first one that we talk about in Journeyland is the perfectionist, person that thinks they know everything. They just never teach. A lot of teachers are perfectionists because the school system is based on the perfectionist model. It's not okay to make a mistake. It's grading is all about teaching perfectionism. That a C is less than an A or whatever. And it's not that there isn't a role in measuring things, but you know what I mean. So a perfectionist is somebody that will walk into a really beautiful home and they'll point out the piece of rug that's not quite vacuumed right,
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they're really like they're good to have on your team if you want somebody who can get the mistakes quickly. They're quick to point out that you've made a mistake. So they serve until Sometimes they are totally annoying, most of the time, but sometimes you can see a value. But a person can live their whole life like that. But that is an unhealthy pattern of behavior that can get cleared through the work that I'll teach you. Okay. All right, so the one more slide that's really we've already talked about, and you'll love it. That I love. This talks about the momentum of thought that's already been alluded to. So when you wake up in the morning and you have a negative thought, if you do, you're cranky or something, you want to get a handle on that quickly. You want to quickly shift it or meditate or something, because law of attraction is the one that feeds us our thoughts. Law of attraction says, oh, you want to be cranky all day? No problem. I've got a worldly amount of thoughts for you that will increase your crankiness. Cranky is kind of more a broad word, but increase your pessimism. You want to, you're upset about global warming. Well, let me tell you, there's way more than global warming to be upset about. And by within a half hour, you're terrified because there's so many things to be upset about. It's the power and momentum of thought, and Shine alluded to that. It also talked about that when he said it only takes like 17 seconds to get a thought energetically moving. So that's why you want to get a hold on this thinking quickly. Like sometimes if I'm in a negative state and I say something negative like 4 times in a row, I take myself out of the room. I know that I've lost control of myself, literally. Like it's like a person could not say a nice thing to me and I would respond by saying something unkind. So, okay, and the opposite's true too. If you wake up and you're feeling great, you have the ability to make your day greater, because you can start thinking, oh wow, and I did this, and isn't this great, and oh my God, this person's so wonderful, and you can literally, get yourself into a better feeling state than a good feeling. Now, the person who's here in contentment lives a very different life than a person who's up here, who's really revved up their ability to get things rolling in a way. It's huge. This person has a really great life. This person has like an outstanding, amazing, universally exalted life, So the difference of what comes to you. So it's really worth it to rev yourself up, and see yeah.
So how long can you keep yourself at that level before? As long as
Because it's not a permanent state
Exactly.
that most humans can maintain.
I know. If you got a doctorate degree in it, then you're set. But that's not true, right? It's different than every day is. You get better at it. Like I am, like so good at it now. Like I'm not perfect by any means.
You spend less time in the
Oh yeah.
In the lower
Oh, yeah.
levels.
never disappears.
No more than 20%, maybe 15% of my life is in that state, negative state. That's even pretty high. Most of my, I work at it every day. I meditate. I get out of the room when I find myself feeling negative. I listen to Abraham Hicks every day. I am so determined to be happy, you know, that,
When did you start?
so when did I start? I think I learned this probably about maybe 8 years ago,
Mhm.
you know, and it's so crazy, but you'd think I'd get tired of, say, listening to Abraham Hicks, but their teachings are so relevant. People ask questions, you know, like relevant questions. My girlfriend did this to me, or that my mother is like this, and what do I do, right? I never get tired of it because it always reminds me where I have to be, right? Music, anything. You're going to learn what makes you happy. Okay? And if you're not feeling happy, you know, do as much as you can to get yourself out of that situation. I teach something, you know, I have another teaching that I'm not going to go into today. The last point is key, and I'm going to give it to you as a bonus here. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So if somebody invites me to do something, if it's like sort of iffy, it's a hell no for me. I try not to do anything that's not a hell yes. And I say that with a little bit of reservation because I want people not to quit their job tomorrow, because that might be a hell no, because you don't want to be deprived of finances, right? But you realize if that job is not a hell no, a hell yes, then you want to be starting to manifest a better job, you know? So, but there are lots of things, a lot of things, like there's not very many Christmas things anymore that I do that is not a hell yes. My husband and I used to be from December 1st to January probably 5th, we would have intimate gatherings with people at our house that we hosted almost every third day. It was absolutely freaking exhausting. Like, I thought, oh, it's important that we can really totally connect. And I mean, the truth is that we could have had one big party, right, on the 23rd, and I could have seen everybody and had all the conversations I wanted, but not me. And we were like so tired after Christmas that we could have used a month's vacation, but we couldn't, you know. So I try not to go to anything, or even, you know, I really try to be respectful, but honor myself too. And anybody that I say no to, it's never no, it's no, they know me enough to know that it's not about them. You know, I am not going to your birthday party because I don't love you. I just can't be in a crowd today.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Yeah. So I learned to be articulate as much as I can with my nose, but I honor myself first and foremost. You know? So having said that, do it with caution, you know. I don't want any of you to do something drastic. All right, so I'm going to give like a 3-minute break just to stretch, get some water if you want, and we're going to go right into the process that will help you clear your first cell memory if you haven't already done that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said so you study psychology with bachelor in medicine, and now when you have your clients, do you use this training or
That's my question.
Totally.
do you
Yeah.
use more what you learned when you were depressed, or do you use more the training that you had from the
I
school?
use what works.
You integrate all that
There
knowledge,
is
right?
not one thing that I learned from my doctorate degree that I use here.
Okay, that's what was my
Not one
question.
thing.
That was
So it
No,
was not helpful, or
It was so detrimental. It was horrible. It was absolutely wrong and horrible. However, having said that, it got me some jobs that I couldn't have gotten if I didn't have a doctorate level degree. And I now get to tell you what you learn is not helpful. You know,
So you could have
many,
help.
I've heard many psychiatrists say that.
oh, it's
Many are
ridiculous.
switching over.
You can't really help people.
You can't.
You just
That's
see
why the
this-
medication is so high, right?
Yeah.
People are on depression. For their whole life they've been on medication. I've worked with, honestly, medicated women who've been told since they were like 12, they'll never get better. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, it's to me, it's criminal. I really, but
I agree with you 100% because when you talk about activism and advocating for that person who's taken medication all their lives, how do you go about that in a positive way? Rather than take on all that negative energy, right? How do you advocate for that? You know, that there is another way.
well, just what I'm doing right here.
Oh,
This is what I'm doing.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
After my 5th journey process, I had one with a therapist who knew this work, knew journey work, took the lid off my depression. Just the lid, I knew, I just felt different. 4 sessions later that I did myself, my depression was completely gone and all my medication got thrown out after the 5th depression. Yeah, I mean the 5th process.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's amazing. Yeah.
And that is amazing.
Yeah,
Doctors would not recommend that.
I think it's criminal to
Yeah, they don't know.
Another method of freeing your depression or whatever it is available to them. They're
Yeah.
only shown one way.
Yeah.
They go into the psychiatrist, they get the medication,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's it. They go home, they're happy.
Yeah.
And that's how the conditioning
Well, they're
begins.
not happy.
Well, that's how the conditioning begins, right?
Oh, yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what's wrong with
Yeah.
you.
So the medical profession, you know more than almost every doctor that you're ever going to meet now.
I used to listen to Abraham Hicks, and I should get back to him because he said the questions are relevant, right? No, I'm listening to just about everyone, and that vibrational match for me, I see it as being this, where people are your vibrational match, right? They're on the same journey as you, So I think that it helps me.
Yeah.
It helps me for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've obviously been asking. You're all here for
Right.
totally get that.
I'm just learning. I'm listening and learning. This is part of, this counseling seems to be the way that I'm being led and how to
Oh, cool.
to implement what I'm
Oh,
learning,
yeah. Like
right?
this is, I would just teach this, and then you teach. I mean, you teach anything that soothes people, right? So you realize that the fields of massage,
Yeah.
of acupressure,
Reflexology,
reflexology, they are all soothers,
Yeah.
right? Physiotherapy perhaps,
Mhm.
hot
Mhm.
tubs.
Mhm.
You realize
Yeah.
that those are things, chilling out. That, you realize that they're not going to get rid of the problem, but they are soothers. And
Like what worked for me was, I wasn't suicidal, but I put myself in isolation because of the energies around me.
Yeah.
And I think the energy that brought me out or helped was the positive affirmation. So now, like you, I was talking about how you get to that level. For me, the moment that negative thought comes into my head, I just get out my little affirmation book, start reciting my mantra.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it helps me to stay above,
that's right.
right?
So that is really a good example of someone who knows that it's important to shift quickly. Yeah.
Immediately I sense it.
Yeah.
I hear the thought and I go, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that take over my day, ruin my peace,
Yeah.
Because it's not who I am.
So just by deciding,
You say that's it. Nope. I
come to
dismiss
that,
it
like,
immediately. I
it's-
dismiss it immediately. But like I told her, I start saying positive affirmation.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So that's a skill. It's called pivoting. So
yeah.
you're in a negative state, and all of a sudden you say, whoop, and you literally like put a pause on that, and you shift. You start to think about, you realize, nope, can't go there. And then you can even rev yourself up, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah, like
Right.
for example, I get a thought, and you're not good enough because I'm trying to open a website. But these thoughts come, you're not good enough, no one's gonna come to you. I dismiss it immediately. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have something to offer the world, I'm good enough, and that's the way it's gonna be. And no negative thoughts gonna control me from doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Right? So it's about that what happens. So that's what I mean. That negative thought comes into your head that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
you're not worthy enough. And I just stopped it and I said, no.
But it's
I
hard
will
just to
not
stop
listen.
it and then move towards something positive.
Yes, positive. Yeah.
There's one more thing that I just want to highlight, and it's important, really important. It's important that when you are in a negative state, that you realize that you now know the purpose of your emotions. This emotional guidance scale tells us the purpose. So if we're feeling good, we know we are where we should be. You know, that's our true nature. If we're feeling nomadic scale, that's akin to driving on the highway and going on the bumps on the sideway. It's just an indicator that you're off track. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what emotions are for. They're very important. They are so important because they tell you where you're at, you know? So nothing more, nothing less. You're feeling angry at somebody, whoop, you're on the bumps on the highway. You're going the wrong way to what you want. So that's it. Isn't that freeing to know that? And how important they are. Like it's both. So it's so important.
So when you feel good, that's when you can make good decisions.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you never make good decision when you are in a bad
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I want to make that point again. I'm just going to say it again. Never make a decision when you're in a negative state of mind. Ever. Ever. You know, I did. When I was in my depression, I just kept making decisions and they never went well. Ever. You cannot get to a positive place from a negative state. You're better to just stay where you are and, whatever. Not always stay where you are, but it's an inner job. Let's put it that way. It's not an outer world. It's not an outer job. It's an inner job to get yourself feeling better. So Shine referred to the focus wheel that you can learn more about listening to Abraham Hicks. You can just, I have a ton of Abraham Hicks stuff. Just if you ever have a hard drive, I can give you lots. So these, whole conferences that they've had. But yeah. So they're just an indicator. I got off track again. God bless you all.
We're going on a journey today.
Yeah, we're going on a journey. I need to be on
set
a journey. Right after you leave, guess what I'm doing? Yeah, I'm just lightheaded for some reason. Yeah.
Oh, do you want some more water?
No, I'm fully hydrated. It's not water. All right, are we waiting? Is Shine not coming?
I can't find it.
He
Nope,
knows.
you said no.
You're not okay. Yeah. He's a master at this. He knows this.
I have a question for you about doing it.
Yes.
I know it's funny if I've been doing it. So, like, now we're talking about these emotions, and like, for an example, like jealousy or something. And it's a big one. So, what if you don't really? It's like, see, I'm feeling really good right now, and so I'm like, okay, well, let's just pick this one and clear it. But I don't really particularly have anything that came into my life recently to kind of provoke that. But I know it's been there in my past life, like, it's
You've been jealous before.
Yeah, and I've received jealousy.
Mhm.
So it's like, how do I use DreamWorks to address that topic, like jealousy,
Okay.
and to like, how do I clear that?
Yeah.
Not that
Well-
I've experienced it recently, but I just want to, like, it's a good thing to. And what if you don't even understand jealousy? Like, we were just talking about the definition of envy and jealousy. That I don't really get it, to be honest.
Well, then you haven't been highly jealous then, because
No, but I
anybody
receive
who-
jealousy a lot. People have said
Yeah,
it to me,
okay.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't really get it, but it's like interesting concept. So how do I use DreamWorks?
Well, you'll get to the place where other people's stuff becomes very insignificant to you. It's not about you at all.
Oh, so it's not.
No.
Yeah.
So, but anybody who has experienced jealousy, 95% of the time, it's an old event that's happened, and what happens is these old events are active in the body, and then an event from the outside happens, and it is like fuel it makes it worse. So if you happen to be jealous about anything, that take that as an example, chances that usually tells you one thing: do a journey process. It's clear you want to clear something from the past, and then what happens is you'll either completely release feeling jealous from the present, or it'll be so minor it'll be insignificant. You'll know exactly what to do or how to behave, but it's almost always illogical, so meaning it doesn't make sense. That's why most people's human behavior doesn't make sense. It's like, where did that come from? It's wow, like seriously, people do things, they're so odd, and now it's old stuff playing itself out in the real world, I mean, a really good example here in our world right now is Donald Trump, I mean, God bless him, but if he were to do, less than 10 journey processes, he would be a completely different leader.
Oh,
I'm not kidding,
huge.
he's so playing out his old stuff, right? And it's just, I mean, the numbers of people you can affect when you're playing your role, and other people resonate with it because they're there too. Get it? I mean, so, I mean, he's an extreme example that he's totally in his stuff and he doesn't even know how to help himself. He says stuff, and then his aides try to they want to say shut the fuck up, and they do probably, but then he just says the same thing in a different way, right? All right, so that is. I'm going to just close down the talking part. We will have time at the end to just answer some final questions. Are we answering? No. You're okay? You comfortable? I wasn't talking to you. Okay. All right. Well, to be honest, I'm honored to teach this work today by doing it in a group setting. I've done this in many huge settings as well, but also one-on-one. It's just such an honor always. So just making sure you're really comfortable. That's important today. And if you are comfortable, to close your eyes, just feeling yourself sitting in your chair, lying down on your mats and pillows. And if you hear any sounds in the room, just let them go. Feeling your breath going in and out. And you're just going to begin to feel yourself relaxing after being in a highly intellectual state. So just taking 2 or 3 really deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. In more. Beautiful. Now I want you to imagine a downward facing staircase. And you might just get a feeling it's there, but I'd like you to imagine one born of your creation. And as it starts to form, it's got 10 steps. It's going downward. Notice the color of it. Notice the texture of it. Is it made of stone or dirt or wood or brick? Anything is perfect. There's no right or wrong. And just make sure you can see it or feel that it's there. And see the 10 steps. Stepping onto the 10th step. Just see all the steps. Are they going straight down? Are they curvy? Now this is a magical staircase because every step you go down, it's going to even heighten the relaxation that you have begun now. So Stepping on to step 9 and 8, carrying you even deeper into the vast, boundless presence of your own essence. Every step draws you deeper and deeper into source energy, this God force energy. Step 7 and 6, allowing yourself to relax ever deeper with every step you take. Stepping on to step 5. And now as you step on to step 4, you're going to begin to feel this expanse of infinite intelligent energy in front of you. And if I could describe it, it would be a bit like the Milky Way. It goes on forever. It goes on and on and on. And you have access to it at any time, and it's in front of you. And moving on to step 3, that energy goes behind you. And now step 2, it's to both sides. It's like the Milky Way in front of you and behind you, the left and the right. Expanding and allowing yourself to go deeper and deeper. And as you go into step 2, you're going to notice that it's sky like above and ocean like below. It's just above you and below you as well. Allowing your awareness to expand spaciously in front of you. I'd like you to imagine now that there's a thermometer that you can see in the ground. It has numbers going from 1 to 10. And 1 is the most relaxed you could ever be. And 10 is like you could get up now and run a marathon. So noticing where you are, knowing there's no right or wrong here. Just notice where you are on that scale. And wherever you are, let's say you're at a 3 or a 5 or anywhere, I'd like you to go up the scale 2 points. And just let it be easy to go up there. Kind of relax yourself up there. So if you're at a 6, go to an 8, 2, go to a 4. And now I'd like you to go 3 down. So if you're at a 3, you're at a 1 now. Or if you're at a 2, you're at a minus, you're at 0. So just go down 3. Just put a slide on your, and slide down. And now that you know who's in charge here, I'd like you to decide where you'd like to rest at for the rest of this process. Wherever is perfect, wherever you are is perfect. But if you want to move from that spot, now's the time. And there's no right or wrong. It's all just perfect. Now you're going to go see a door in front of you. It's a magical door. And because, there's 2 reasons. Because behind that door is the light of your higher self. Your higher self is like your guiding light, your God force that's always calling you home. And also behind that door is a mentor or mentors, because you can have more than one, that's going to come with you on this process today. Now the mentor could be a divine presence, Jesus or a Buddha or a host of angels. Or it could be an animal that you love. It could be an owl or a raven, or it could be someone in your life that you are deeply attached to that's passed on, or someone that you've had in your life, but let it not be anybody that you have any issues at all with. So nobody in your family, perhaps. But you decide. Somebody whose wisdom you completely trust to go on this with you today, be supportive, giving you wisdom when needed. I'll give you just a few seconds to find that, think of who that will be. And now I'd like you to walk through the doorway that you've created, and I'd like you to greet your mentors, your mentor, and mentors. And I want you to feel the brightness of your higher self. Beautiful. Now you're going to notice that there's a vehicle beginning to form beside you and your mentor. You're going to see it. It could be a space shuttle or a magic carpet or a car that you love or a truck. Whatever it is, it's a vehicle made just for you and your mentors. Just notice how perfect it is as it forms. Notice its color, its texture. Notice how beautiful it is. Beautiful. When you're ready, I would like you and your mentor to go hop into the vehicle, put on your seatbelts, close the doors, and get ready for takeoff. You are all doing so great. Now there's a panel of buttons in front of you, and there's one big green button. And the purpose of today's process is to really give you the experience of going through it. So if this is you wouldn't want to process today a major issue, if possible. If it's just, you just can't help it, no problem. But something that, you feel like easily can get resolved today in this environment. Because the purpose is to learn, to feel how it is to go through the work. So you're going to put that intention on your button. Someone mentioned jealousy, so I'd like to clear that today. Right? So, and if you don't have an intention today, you just want to go where your heart goes, that's great too. So when you're ready, I'd like you to press that green button and allow that button to start to scan through your body from head to toe. And it's going to know exactly where to land, where your body needs a little bit of help. Exactly where to go. Take your time. And go in for a nice, safe landing. And when you've landed, if you could just put your hand on your belly, which would give me an indicator that you've landed, and I can go carry on. Okay. Awesome. Beautiful. So I'd like you to go ahead and get out of your vehicle. But before you do, there's some flashlights underneath the seat. Grab the flashlights, you and your mentors, and hop out of the vehicle. And I want you to shine that flashlight all around the area where you've landed. And the area it could be, you can see that there's an area that needs a little bit of help. It could be darker, or there's a feeling in there that doesn't feel good. It could be, partly, feels healthy, partly doesn't. It could all of it feel unhealthy. So just notice the area where you've landed as you shine the flashlight. So notice the color there, the texture. Just notice it completely. And I'd like you to go just right over to the area that you can see needs some help today. Okay? And your mentor's with you. And I want you to breathe into that area. And let me know, or, get a feeling state of what's in that area. Breathe into that area. It's not going to feel good, but it's just temporary. So breathing in to that area and looking down at your feet at the same time in your mind's eye. So breathing into this sadness or anxiety or whatever it is, and looking down at your feet at the same time. And on a scale of 1 to 10, make that negative feeling even greater. Make it 1 to 100. And now, on a scale of 1 to 100, make it 1,000. And looking down at your feet, and when a memory comes up, or a person's face, I want you just to take note of it, and put the memory or the person's face on a kind of in the sky, as if it were a movie screen, and put a pause on it. So you've breathed in, you've felt the emotion. When have you felt like this before? The memory comes up, person's face comes up. And as soon as you have the memory, or whoever it is you want to process with today, put that movie, it's a little vignette of a movie, and put pause on it. And in the memory, just notice what you're wearing. Just look at your legs and your clothes. Who was with you in that memory? Get a sense of how old you feel yourself to be and where you might be. So just get clear on that memory. Who else is there? And it could be a memory that evokes other memories as well. Just get clear on exactly what happened back then. Okay? So now that you've got the memory on a movie screen and it's on pause, I want you just to let the screen go blank, knowing that you're going to have access to it in a moment. Just notice if it's on the movie screen, and if you let it go blank. As soon as you've done that, awesome. Now I'd like you to imagine a beautiful campfire that is set up right in the area where you landed. It could be an organ, it could be a bone, it could be your brain, it could be any part of the body. Just stay open. And if it happens to be a doorway, let's say you're just outside your heart and it seems like you should go into your heart, open that door and allow yourself to go right in there. And now set up that campfire right inside that organ or that bone or that muscle. And it's a beautiful campfire. It's born of love and safety, comfort, and the present you is there, and your mentor is there as well. So making sure that you can see the campfire, feel its warmth and comfort, see the present you, see your mentor, and you're all settling in there right now. And now I'd like you to press on stop the pause button, let it play, of the movie in the sky. And I want you to play that event from beginning to end. Awesome. And now I'd like the younger you in that event to come down off the movie screen and sit beside the present you and your mentor. Make sure that little one feels safe, comforted, loved. Really, make sure the young one feels comfortable. And then I'd like you to allow the person that you have to talk to today that was in that memory to sit across from you. Now, if you are alone in your memory and it's someone that should have been there, then put that person there. Okay? So now checking in to make sure that you can see the younger you at the campfire who's with the present you and your mentor, and then seeing the person across from you who you're going to work with today. And you can see the campfire as well. Everything is set up for you perfectly right here in the organ or tissue that you will process today. And just notice if there's anybody else that should be at this campfire. Maybe you want someone else to witness this process. You could allow them to do that. Let's say it's an event between you and your mother or something, and if you want the rest of your family there, just make a decision if you'd like anybody else to just witness this healing today. So everyone's sitting in the protective presence of this fire of unconditional love and acceptance. And the younger you here experienced a great deal of pain in the past. I want you to let the younger you now speak from that previous pain, saying what needs to be said in their own words, and letting the person across from you hear what needs to be heard. Now, the only criteria here is that you say everything, and you don't have to be kind or polite or anything. So I'd like you to let the younger you finally have a voice to say what you need to say to them today. Go ahead. Beautiful. Now, it is rare for a child ever to get a full say in their life. So I want you to open up your heart even more and say anything more that needs to be said to this person across from you. Now, knowing that this person across from you was probably doing the very best they could with the knowledge and the resources that they had at the time, let them reply. What did they say back to you? Now, this person is here with you today in consciousness. They want this resolved as well. They feel bad too. And what does the younger you have to say back to what they've just said? Let the younger you speak again to them. Now, if this person were to reply now, not from out of the vortex in their personality back then, but from being inside the vortex, from their deeper place, from their loving state, what would they say to you now? And if they could say even more to you from their loving state, let them say that. And what would the younger you reply to that? What do you reply to that? Now notice if your mentor, who's your guide here today, wants to add anything, any words of wisdom or support. Not necessary, but if they want to say something, this is a good time for them to speak. And what does the present you have to say to this person across about now realizing how this event has affected you all these years? Just let the present you inform them about the impact that this had on you. And what would this person across from you reply from that deeper place, that loving in the vortex state? What would they say to that? I'm just going to give you, if there's more to say at all, just go back and forth until that conversation feels complete. And now just notice if anyone has anything more to add at the campfire regarding this particular memory. Just let that happen. You're just kind of mumbling this, to yourself. Making sure to breathe and letting the energy out as you let it go. Beautiful. You're doing great. When the younger you is ready, now ask, even though this person's previous behavior was not or may not have been acceptable by any standards, even if you in no way condone that behavior, are you willing to completely and utterly forgive them from the bottom of your heart, knowing that the forgiveness is actually for you, so that you can let this go? And knowing that you're forgiving the behavior, the person, not the behavior. So go ahead, forgiving that person. And cut the energy tie between you and that person, releasing this for good. Watch it turn to loving energy. And then pouring loving, forgiving energy on yourself for anything you think you could have done or should have done back there. Just forgiving yourself, giving yourself an utter break. Feeling how good it feels just to let yourself be at peace about this too. Now, when the present you is ready, even though this person's behavior wasn't acceptable by any standards, even if you in no way condone their behavior, does the present you feel willing to forgive them? Remembering the forgiveness is for you, so that you let this go. And if you're having a hard time forgiving, it means just this one thing, that there's more to say at this campfire. So just take note of that. But assuming you are able to forgive them today, just cutting that energy tie as well, watching it turn to loving energy, releasing this. And just again, if you need to be forgiven, the present you for any, just open up your chest and let all forgiveness for anything you think you could have done, should have done, would have done differently. And there you go. So now just going ahead again and just forgiving that person, sending them prayers, allowing that person to now merge into the fire, which is the source of all blessings, all love. And now I'd like the present you to turn to the younger you. And I'd like you to say, the present you to say to the younger you, I am so sorry for all this previous pain. I just didn't have access to all the resources and the wisdom that I do now. I promise you now, you will never have to go through this pain again. Because from now on, I will protect you, and you can have access to this love and grace and wisdom anytime you like. And just giving that younger you a hug, letting him or her emerge inside of you, allowing the younger you to grow up in the embrace of love, with all this forgiveness inside. And so there's just the present you left with your mentor now. And I'm going to now hand you some inner quality resources that would have been helpful back then, had you had those resources back then. So I'm going to hand you the resource of knowing about your emotional guidance scale, knowing about the law of attraction. So just breathing in that knowledge, breathing in self-love, breathing in trust and safety, breathing in confidence and the ability to speak with clarity. And if there's any other inequality you would have liked back then, just breathe that in now. Maybe there's two more that you can think of, even more. Breathe it into every cell in your body. And now take another couple of deep breaths, breathing all of this in together. Let every cell be permeated with these inner resources. And now I'd like you to put the memory back up on the movie screen and play it from beginning to end. And the only criteria here is that you are completely at peace and happy in this new memory. You feel so good about how you behaved and what happened, how the other person was or wasn't there or whatever. You get to create it. This is your movie. And make it really good, because this is going to be stored in your cell now, and this is what you will be attracting. And now, knowing that everybody's watching videos these days and you can edit it, I want you to go through this memory again and edit it, making you even happier, even more at peace, even more fantastic. And that's the only criteria. You are at complete peace. Okay? Go in and make it even better. Awesome. You guys are doing amazing. So now let the campfire completely disappear. And I'd like you and your mentor to get out your flashlights that you came in with. And I want you to shine them in the area where you landed to begin with. And notice the change that's beginning to happen in that area. Notice how the unhealthy spot is starting to reveal its health. There might be a more light in there. Might be smoother. It might be a drastic change, meaning it totally looks fully healthy. And notice how the feeling is different in that area now. The negative feeling is gone and it's being replaced. As I speak, it's being replaced and getting better and better. Beautiful. And if you were to sit here for even another 10 minutes, you would notice that it's getting healthier and healthier and happier. But just noticing that it's begun the process by what you're seeing now, you know that your body is now healing from this. All the things that have been active within you because of this event are now starting to collapse. And with a grateful heart, you can know that you don't even have to do anything now. It's going to heal without any help. Just like your eyes glow and your hair grows, you don't have to do anything. And now I'd like you and your mentor, feeling really proud of yourself here, you and your mentor can hop into the vehicle, going back to the doorway that you first landed. And I want you to get out of the vehicle, saying goodbye to this amazing mentor who was supportive, energetically, perhaps through words as well. Thanking them very much. Knowing the importance of their presence. They are akin to your higher self. Telling you exactly the wisdom needed. And just before we go up the stairs and finish the process here today, I want you to see yourself one day from now, how you're doing. You know, having released this is literally like releasing a block that will absolutely increase your vibration. You'll either feel super energetic or know that it'll take a little bit of time. And notice how you're doing a week from now. It sometimes takes up to 6 weeks to clear an old cell memory like this. But you have literally transformed your body just by clearing this one memory. It's the beginning process. A week from now, noticing how you're doing with that issue that you came to process. And what's shifted in your life. Now let's go 6 weeks. This has been detoxed. You've been taking care of yourself. You might have even done another process or something else. Notice how you are doing with that issue 6 weeks from now. Beautiful. Now we're going to go 6 months from now. Imagine that you took this to heart and you really decided that anytime you were in a deep negative state or a negative state, you were just going to clear whatever was at the heart of it. And let's say you really learned how to pivot. As soon as you got yourself into that state, you shifted. 6 months from now, notice what you're attracting. What are those things you've attracted that are in your vortex now? That beautiful relationship, those friendships, that extra money, that new whatever, home, maybe more business partners. whatever you want, you can have it. Just know this. 1 year from now I know you guys don't have a a crystal ball or anything, but 1 year from now, imagine knowing what you know, the laws of the universe, this process, and other, now you're even looking for other ways to soothe yourself into good feeling. 1 year from now, let's shift it. Notice how powerful you feel, how aware you are of how you create your own reality. Notice how quickly you move into loving energy with those around you. Notice how wise you are. And now I want you to, with how you are 1 year from now, I want you to breathe into that fully and deeply. This is what you're going to be manifesting. And as you breathe into it, just walking up the stairs, one at a time, taking your time. And when you're at the 9th step, just hang on there for a second. And now with like a massive, huge amount of appreciation for yourself, knowing there are so many people that wouldn't even go into this place of the unknown that you have today. So pouring loving, amazing energy over yourself for the willingness. And only hopping onto the 10th step and opening your eyes when you feel complete, when you feel. And if you know you have to go back and massage that old memory again because it wasn't not quite finished, no problem. You now can do that, but just make note of that. All right? Just bring back into the room when you can. All right. How was that for you guys? Gals, guys. Anybody want to share anything? Yeah.
I found my ego getting whether I was judging myself or whether I was accessing the right now.
Oh,
I was judging myself, whether maybe my doing it.
yeah. Oh, yes, for
And I
sure.
had to let that go.
Yeah, that's a number
It's
one.
just like, what am I doing? Not am I doing it right, but am I, why is this coming up? And then memory shifted the purpose of why. So I was judging that and I had to figure out because it started with something. It wasn't a single memory. It actually went for me down a cascade of root cause.
Yeah.
So the people,
Oh,
the focus,
Yeah.
the person, the people, focus changed.
oh, wow.
But I don't
Like-
know why. It was like kind of why
Were
is
you
that?
younger at the
Well,
bottom?
it started blaming more with cause and that. So yeah, and so I don't know. So it was like
Did you
ego getting in the
actually
way of
process
judging.
one memory at least?
I would say a holistic feeling of loneliness when I was a child, or just like wanting more from my friends.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
deserving of,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's a bunch of moments of time I felt with these friends.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
to resent towards friends because there's
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I
did
don't know if this was the
were
right
those-
way, and so
Were
that's
those
why.
friends at the campfire? Is that,
Yeah.
yeah, all of them?
Couple.
A couple? Okay, yeah. Good. Well,
It wasn't a single point in time, but it was sort of
yeah.
the memory is
Yeah.
a single, because it's an
Gotcha.
emotional memory is
Yeah.
a single thing
Mhm.
that embodied a bunch of years of my childhood where I was like, bad friends.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so so what you can do, so that's great. You got the general feeling of this general loneliness, and then people came into place as you knew what was the cause of that in your mind. So if you've processed with 2 people, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. If there's others that come up from, that's a significant one because could be several, but you may want to go back in and just say the same thing to all of them, and if there's something, Like sometimes there's really specific things that people have been particularly mean. You might say, and George, when you did that, like, what the heck, how dare you? I mean, I won't go into the language I use when I'm in a bad state, right? Getting mad at somebody, but you can just say it like it is, right? And then they come back from their aligned state, from their place of true knowing, and say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry we treated you that way." That we apologize. Always, always, when people speak from their true self, it's, how can I ever do that to you? You're such a great guy. You make it up. You get to say what they say. That's what I say. Everybody's.
That was amazing.
Yeah. You're so amazing. Like I love you. I'm so sorry I hurt you. You can, however you want to say it, right?
Yeah.
I really get people to really apologize to me. Like they're big time apologizers.
Yeah, I thought it was great that their feedback to me came from you.
Yeah. Because the truth is, I'll tell you something funny. Ever since I learned this work, I never try to work things out with any but one person. Rarely. Like now, I wish I would have my husband here now to know this, right? I just go and I process him. If it was my husband, I'd go and I'd process him at the campfire, and then when I came back to him later, what happens when you go back to somebody you process? It's like it's the tension's gone. It's like it never happened. They don't quite get it because they haven't done the work, perhaps, but you've shifted the relationship because you feel fine. What they did no longer bothers you. You understand? So if a boss says something mean, you clear it at the campfire, you go to work the next day, and it's like it never happened. It's not completely, like it's not always clean, super clean, but most of the time, and the reason I do that is because people never say what you want them to hear. Like my husband and I literally could get into an all-day conversation about who did what to whom and what, it's the blah, 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 and it's all out of the vortex, right? Two people out of the vortex trying to solve something that never can be solved when you're out of the vortex. Get it? So once one person gets in the vortex and feels better, that person literally shifts the relationship. But two people out of the vortex, it's like I once got trained as a mediator, and I just slowly, quickly got rid of that career because I thought there is no way two people. It's like Parliament, right? I mean, trying to make sense of stuff that happened when they're two, but they're trying to solve a problem right now. Yeah. So
Access to memory is always something that someone did something to me, or if I harbor guilt for doing something to someone else.
Well, same thing.
Either way.
You forgive yourself. Yeah. I mean, most people, that is like people are so ashamed or feel guilty or whatever about what they did. Some people, whatever, some people do horrendous things. But they clear, they forgive themselves. They realize that when you're in revenge and anger on a street where there's you do things, you get wrapped up in the momentum, right, of the negative stuff. So you just forgive yourself, Well, the thing that happens with this work is that you have such, not tolerance, but compassion for knowing that everybody truly is doing the best they can. When they're in a negative state, law of attraction has got their thinking this way. They've got cell memories that are keeping that strong, right? And they are trying to do something in the present that's positive. And it sucks. It's really hard to do that. So, is that the door? You looked up. Did you hear something?
Yeah, I heard something.
Oh,
Yeah, it's from the.
Okay. Okay, so any other questions? That was a good question. But if a lot of memories came, then you want to just break them down and, the thing I would hope you would do is do something that's manageable. Like a really hard issue, it's kind of tough to learn. I want you to learn the process And then once you know the process, that's the basis, you know? So,
Are you gonna just gonna go through the process again, just like as in high level?
what, say
Are you just gonna go through the process again? Sorry, took us through, but like a point form notes, how to do it?
Oh, well, I'm gonna send you an audio version of it, okay? And, basically there's 9 steps and if you don't,
Okay.
Yeah. you'll get, yeah, you can, I'm not gonna leave you stranded, it just says, yeah.
Just a quick question. I didn't have a specific memory. It was just with one person.
Yeah,
Does it need to be specific?
no, is it somebody you had an issue, like, we're upset with?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So it's hard, if it's the father or something, it's hard to have one specific moment.
Exactly,
you know?
yeah. With someone like parents are usually the culprits, right? For all of us, we had a lot of stuff with one parent often, And, mine was my mom. And we just, if something else comes up, you just remember it and clear it.
Yeah, that's
you know?
what happened.
Yeah.
This something came up and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. But it's likely you'll have more with her, but I'm at the point with my mom that I actually don't even remember what she did that bothered me. And I had a lot of stuff with mom, But now she's just like, I honestly, I cannot remember.
So how do you clear things that you don't remember?
Well, now I've forgotten it because I've cleared them all, is what I mean. Like once you clear your stuff, you forget your past. Sometimes I'll remember it just for teaching purposes. Like this person did this to me. But honestly, like I've processed stuff with a boss or my husband, and I honestly forget what they did. You forget. It's not important. It's just stuff.
It's like,
There's no emotional
Well,
charge.
the only reason we have memories is to prevent the future. So like, if you hold on to a memory.
There's no emotional charge. So it's like there's nothing. That person did the best they could, right? Because they're out of the vortex, whatever, right? So you just sort of totally understand. And when you're in a room with somebody like a mom, moms are often out of the vortex because they often do most of the house stuff, right? And they're exhausted and don't always have fresh people that they meet every day. And some, that's not completely true anymore, but, my mom she was always out of the vortex, exhausted, tired, always. And she didn't know. And she did not know how important it was to be happy. If she would have locked herself in the bedroom and said, when you're finished fighting, I'll come out, or, you two are fighting, it bothers me, I'm going to go and take a break. And you really, you need to learn how to deal with stuff. Anybody else have a significant question? We have about, maybe 3 or 4 minutes before.
I was going to add something about that. So I used this method recently in an event that happened during the day. And so I went through the process and I cleared it. And then I couldn't sleep. I'm like, gosh, I must have more things to say. And I kept clearing, and then I ran out of things to say. And I'm like, then I realized that I cleared the situation with this person. But what I was trying to actually clear was a pattern that went all the way back, but I didn't allow it to go that far back.
Mm-hmm.
It was until I got the layers kind of, because it was so heated, right? Like it just happened. So it took me a couple of layers to get to that point. And then I realized the pattern was I felt really hurt that someone in an authority figure was supposed to be looking out for me fully. It wasn't necessarily that particular event, that situation. It just provoked that because it happened a couple of times in my life. So that's why.
Yeah.
So in case you kind of didn't frustrated, I've already how many times have to tell this person what's going on? So it's okay. I think I did 3 or 4 times and went to 3 a.m. that morning to figure that out. And it was just me, right? The process told me I was just too heated.
Okay.
So it was
Because
okay.
you didn't get to the root.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, is it the situation? I felt like through the situation, it was actually a little bit much more deeper than that. It was just a pattern, and that was provoking things.
Yeah, that she's talking about the, that these patterns of behavior are like big symptoms, you know. I'll give you an example. Do you want to give your own example of the one you did, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm going to which one would you like to?
Oh, I can tell them my story, or do you want to?
Okay. As a helper?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well,
hers got set up in the womb. This pattern of behavior got set up in the womb. That's what she took.
yeah. So like during the like how you were explaining, like you thought you had one type of memory, and then as I'm doing process with Joni, it went further back and back and back, and it was based on being a helper, like my upbringing and seeing my cultural background. You're always self-sacrificing, and I never saw that happiness around. And then as we were going through the journey, I'm like, oh my god, it was inside my mother's womb because she was still self-sacrificing, and those chemical imbalance is like part of I'm being built into that. So that's why I've always had this. Oh, it's okay. I feel so tired, and I've literally given my shirt off my back a couple of times because I walk out with a tank top, freezing, but just because someone really liked it and needed it, and I'm like, okay, I'll just give it to you. It's okay, I'll give it to you. And then another big aha moment that Joni just like my mind is that is that I'm not holding people in their space for them to have source energy. So yes, I've always had this pattern because people always looked at me as their strength, and so it's just kind of like a habit that I'm always the rock. I'm always picking up on things because that's what I saw with my mom and all the other, it's a pattern. But then when she switched that paradigm, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a disservice. I'm doing a disservice. So it's kind of applicable to even like when I watch the news or hear things. It's like we're doing a disservice. We've got to hold that vibration and that light by doing our internal work and liberating ourselves so that we're not getting out of our vortex and be able to hold that space. So I've shifted my energy, and I've noticed that they're kind of picking up their own energy now. Like I see people around me picking up their own. I'm not taking full on. A little bit of tweaking because I'm still in transition. Like it could take a day or 6 weeks or whatever it may be. Like I can feel it shifting. Like there's a little bit of debris coming, but it's like I'm not phased by it now because I know it's just in here.
The thing about this pattern, all of them are awful. This one, the person doing it, the helping, I heard that same one too. You get this sense of importance in people's lives that God, if you weren't there, how they wouldn't be able to manage, right? And but it's all untrue. First of all, because you're not realizing and knowing that everybody is connected to source energy. So literally, like the most important relationship in our lives is the one between us and our higher self, source, God. Not our girlfriend, not our wife, not our whatever, right? Friend. And so remember this helper one, it's you're never helping out of genuine helping when it's an addiction. It's like an addiction, right? You're just like a squirrel on a hamster wheel. Right? And it's and when you let that go and you realize, for me it was like, oh my God, all the times I helped people that I didn't really want to, but I felt like it was like a total addiction. And now I don't ever help people unless it's a hell yes. I mean, I really cut down on that. I just don't. And because I know people have access to source, and I may not be their teacher, but they have access to it. And you want them to have access to it. You don't want to be the person that has the answers for anybody, right? Yeah. So anyway.
Hell yes, but not be feeling your guilt for having said no. Right?
Oh,
To
totally.
any situation, right? That's a
Yeah.
challenge sometimes.
The hell no it is just a way to get to know yourself. It's like when you're in the addiction, you just can't stop yourself. But when you finally get a handle on it, the hell no is like, oh no, I can't go there anymore. It's just dramatic. Get you to really know yourself. Hell no, I'm not going to one more party like that. Or hell no, I cannot spend more time with that person. Or, hell no, I don't really like going to Hawaii every Christmas. Whatever, right? Or, hell no, I don't want to go skiing. I want to sit at home and read a book. You just need to know yourself. It really teaches you that. You know, what makes me happy.
Oh, I'm sure I was keeping it true, thinking
Yeah,
really
yeah,
connecting with how you truly feel about
yeah,
saying yes or no.
totally.
Yeah.
So that when you're at that party, you're at that party. You totally are happy there, you know? Yeah. Everybody gets that if someone doesn't show up that's not wanting to go, they don't want you there anyway,
Right. Yeah.
right? You want people to be there because they want to be there, you know? So, and all of us want people to take care of themselves, usually. So anyway, that's a good, there's 9 of those patterns, and so that's a little more advanced work. But what you've been given today, like, honestly, you have to start with clearing out a pile of stuff, and, you know, if you want, it's incredible. One little memory, you just cannot believe that it was one memory that released Brandon Bay's basketball-sized tumor. In 6 weeks, it was completely gone. Me, it took 5 sessions, 5 processes, and my depression was, I've never been depressed since.
Was there a single memory of person you focused on and had to talk to?
Well, the
And
first
yourself?
memory was in the womb with my mom, and then after that, it was 4 more.
How do you know it's from the morning?
Yeah,
Pardon?
You did get a vision?
You'll get lead.
Oh,
You'll get lead.
Can you tell us what it was?
The womb,
Or yeah, or you said you had one pattern that you really need to talk about.
the helper. is the-
Okay, that was the one of yours as well.
Yeah, no, hers was in the womb, the helper.
Yeah.
Oh, mine was my depression. Like, my depression literally got set up in the womb, but it wasn't until I was feeling super vulnerable and low when I was fifth grade, right? Like, a lot older, 40s, my 40s.
She was depressed at
Yeah.
the time.
She didn't want to have a baby, Irish Catholic, got, sent away, blah, blah, blah. It was awful for her, terrible.
And your husband's dead triggered that memory?
Yeah. Well, when people
Oh.
are in a particularly low state,
Mhm.
like, some people aren't, if someone would have told me when I was like, before my husband died that I needed therapy, I would have said, are you,
Mhm.
take a hike, right?
Mhm.
I know I would never have said I needed help, ever. Like, I just was thinking I was so good. But it was when I was finally depressed and, in that state that, that I realized, wow, and I had a lot of stuff to clear. By the time you're 30, you've got a lot of stuff that you've kept on.
There's another way to rationalize it. You say a lot of stuff to clear. Still don't relate to that. There's another word to say. There's a lot of conversations of past events in my head. Still happen. I'm still talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is that like I'm still like, oh my god, I'm still remembering.
And this is the way you can just finish those conversations completely. Like, if I have a conversation with anybody that is uncomfortable, I within a day clear it. At the campfire.
Without really talking to you, you're saying, sorry.
What?
You don't.
No, never.
So
I never really talked to them in person.
Never really talk.
Never. But they're always at my campfire. So if you do something that bothers me, trust me, you'll be at my
And
campfire.
then, what's the role of the mentor?
The mentor is your higher self.
Ah.
Yeah. So the wise
Uh-huh.
always gives you the high knowledge. Good question.
So then, because then you're using your higher self and that person's higher self to have this dialogue,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, the journey work was created by Brandon Days, who wouldn't really even agree with a lot of the law of attraction stuff, So, but I've combined these two, knowing that if you don't know that, then this is limiting.
That can help you to where from the root cause.
Yeah.
More down in where.
This gives you the global, like, this is how the universe works.
Mhm.
This is why the emotions are so important. And this gives you a technique, a powerful technique, not just any technique, to, get to the root and clear out a lot of, ulcers, learning disabilities, patterns of behavior, you know, just feeling tired all the time, not making money. I used to I was an athlete for years, and I used to exercise because I was always I felt tense, so I exercised thinking I need more exercise, right? But it wasn't that I needed more exercise, it was that I needed to know how to let go of stuff. I just didn't have to, I didn't know how.
And also the vigilance. Even when she calls it witnesses that they can watch. I do have evidence that I feel like they really truly have their higher selves receive the love. For example, I did one with Julie for grieving, and I had my mom to see that because my dad passed away. So it was about healing and just saying that how much we love him, and then the conclusion or the new memory that Julie guided me was that I could still have that connection. And then that night, my sister had a dream and had a full-on conversation with her, like that. And so she had messages for all of us the next day. She doesn't know what it is, but like, but she was a witness to what. So when she calls witnesses, I'm like, oh, who don't want to agree? Like I'm really excited to share, right? So
Yeah.
she may not physically be here, but she received her higher self received that. So
Well, if you, we have your emails, right? So I will, I don't think yours was on the list, so you make sure you get that right. You know where I am. So would you like copies of these diagrams?
Yeah, we'll put that
They're
up.
amazing, aren't they? And they're not mine, and I don't take credit for them at all, but I take credit for having put it together in a certain way that I think it makes sense. Would you agree with that?
yeah.
Like there's a logistics to it, and yeah. And Brandon Day, I honestly, I think it's the best training to help people out there. There's many more things to learn from her, but this is what I use as base for almost everything. There's 5 other great
This is the
processes.
first step of the base, you said?
What?
Basics. This is the basic. But
Wow.
what would be just after?
This is the beginning. If you go to a Brandon Days workshop, you're gonna learn this process the first weekend, and another one, 2 amazing processes. The other one is awesome too, but it's harder to do in a group. I do it individually. I did it recently with Jasmine, but
It's almost like a hypnotherapy session because I went
Yeah.
to
It's
and
really
it's similar.
totally, yeah.
It's really deep.
Yeah.
Really deep.
Well, if anybody knows self-development in psychology, you'll get, once you practice, you'll see that there's probably 25 skill sets within this work. I mean, she really was divinely, it just came out, it was divine guidance for her to heal her tumor. But there is hypnosis, visualization, future orientation, NLP, the language that's used, NLP,
What's example?
and neuro-linguistics programming, how we speak, the words we speak.
How to train your brain, to retrain your brain, or something. Or the
Yeah.
habit to change all the habits.
That's right. What some things. Do you have people here waiting to get in here, then?
Look,
Okay. So-
I'm just doing it.
You want me to give you one NLP thing? Which is totally cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone says to you, I can't do that, do something. And you say to them, well, if you could do it, what would it look like? There's something that happens in the brain, that's NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that shifts that person somehow. I don't know the correct terminology, but they will almost always have the right answer. So if they say, I don't know, what do you think about that? I don't know. Well, if you did know, what would you think? What do you think?
That's amazing. I can do my work with little kids.
Totally. Everybody, anybody. It works all the time. I use it a lot. Yeah. Yeah, because people think they don't know, but they do know.
Yeah.
It's just a reminder, Yeah. But that's the benefit of learning more about NLP. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that one, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
a good gem,
yeah. So I will keep your emails, Shine's got them, but, I may be doing some advanced work with folks who have already done this part. So, just, if you're interested, you're welcome to be part of that, but it would only be people that's already had this component. So, but there's a lot more that you could learn,
When that will be?
in the new year. But actually, every Wednesday, I am going to do something here, every Wednesday. It may, and I'd like to add something new every Wednesday, but there's so much to offer, but it's limited, so I had to, get within this time frame.
So Unit, the name of the organization, that's you?
Unite is Shine and Crystal's business,
Okay.
and they have hosted me.
I
Okay.
see.
I asked them to host, if I could do some events through their business, because Well, I wanna
They've got
support
a big, they've got a big list.
they have a lot of people wanting that, but I want to support them. They get monies from this, for my work, and I can't think of anything. And I don't like that the whole getting the word out is, if I didn't have to do it, I'd be happier. But I have it vibrationally out there, but you have to actually put stuff on, get the word out too. That's the key thing.
So what do you have every Wednesday? Is it-
I'm starting in January every Wednesday here at the house. I will just be offering, every Wednesday there'll be a process and then some content.
Okay. So
So,
if I go to your Facebook page, will you have events?
for that,
No.
you can join, you certainly
Or the
hook me up
website?
just as a friend.
Um,
But get on Shine and Crystal's Unite page.
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, because we'll start to promote those Wednesday things this soon.
That's how I found about this person.
Yeah, from
Brad.
them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do promote myself on my page too, but not as much as they do, because well, I don't know, basically, I don't really know a lot of people in Vancouver anymore, because I was gone in Alberta and just come back, so,
And this guy's always promoting events, bringing food together.
That's
Bringing
the-
all sorts of talent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
that's their business.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
All right, you guys,
We're
so
inspired.
much.
We're
Good,
inspired
good.
on that.
So much.
Yeah, no, pleasure, I'm glad you're here, I'm so happy to share,
Thank you.
you have no idea.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Nice.
One day, look out for me doing the children's process, because kids,
That's
honestly,
where
dramatic
Yeah.
shit, so good.
That's
Yeah.
so, yeah.
It's so amazing. They get it. They don't have a lot of stuff built up. Oh, I love working with kids.
And then
All right.
in about half an hour, we've got Adronis who's going to be doing a 2-hour channeling workshop. And he does, he's similar to Bashar and Abraham Hicks, but he does channeling and gives question and answers, and that's direct stuff. And so that's happening next. So you're welcome to just stay and hang out. And yeah, we did the same thing for that one. It's just by donation, and so you're welcome to donate for that. Or just hang out.
Can I have my sandwich here? Do I need to go?
Take it
Right here?
right here.
Thank you. I couldn't concentrate a little because my stomach was rumbling.
Yeah, I'm a bit hungry too.
Yeah.
Yeah, eat something light, not
Right,
huge,
Yeah.
and rest. This is like running a marathon internally, just so you know.
Sure.
Okay,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really big
I think
shift. You feel lighter?
Yes, I am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll
that-
either be exhausted or you'll be energized or both. You'll notice.
And there's a beautiful little like pie and restaurant shop that's 2 blocks up in the grocery store. So if you want to do that something.
Thanks so much, Shine, for hosting this.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Shine.
Yeah. Okay, and you have my email? No, I'll send you that, okay? And so if you have questions, I don't mind to answer them.
Yeah, and keep us updated on the next events.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do it all through Unite, so, yeah. Are you on that, Shine?
It'll be weekly starting in January.
Yeah, okay.
Just kind of like a weekly refresher.
So do you send us emails or do you
Yeah. So if you bought a ticket, you're on the email list.
Okay.
So you'll get hopefully emails. If you don't hear from us, it's probably because sometimes the emails doesn't go through because of the blockers or whatever.
Okay.
So just send us a message. So check the Unite Facebook page. It's got all the events.
If you want to friend me, like if you guys want to friend me, there's not a post that I put up on Facebook that doesn't include this material
Okay.
in some way, right? So for instance, there's one now, just today or yesterday. You'll never be lonely if you are friends with the one you're alone with or something.
No.
Yeah, you'll never be lonely if you love the person you're with, right? So just have a look at my posts. Like honestly, I never ever post when I'm in a bad mood, ever. Never post negative stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all about trying to increase and educate and bring consciousness. So just examples. So adding to the well-being, which I'm sure you already do, but now you've got extra content.